According to several Old Testament records, Og, whose name means gigantic in Hebrew, played the role of the ancient monarch of the Amorites, a people who inhabited the regions of Canaan and are mentioned in scriptures since patriarchal times. Og had Rephaim ancestry and was part of the giants of the Rephaim lineage. He and his army were defeated by Moses and his followers in an intense battle fought in Eritrea, which probably corresponds to the current area of the Golan Heights in Syria. From ancient times to contemporary literature, the figure of Og, that giant, has appeared in several works. For example, John Milton references Og in his epic Paradise Lost, describing him as one of the Nephilim giant beings descended from the sons of God and the daughters of men. The internal timeline of Deuteronomic history, specifically in the book of Deuteronomy, indicates that the fall of Og, the fearsome king of the giants who ruled over the Emirates, occurred around 1440 BCE, approximately 3,440 years ago. The Emirates were a Semitic society and spoke a West Semitic language. Their culture was influenced by Mesopotamian culture and later by Canaanite culture, with whom they came into contact in the Levant region. The Amorites are mentioned in the Bible, especially in the context of the Israelites' conquest of Canaan under the leadership of Joshua. The Amorites were one of the ethnic groups that inhabited the land of Canaan and whom the Israelites encountered during their journey. Og is also mentioned in the Islamic religion and is referenced in the Quran as a giant about 13 feet tall. The Bible describes Og's stature based on the size of his bed, which was approximately 9 cubits long by 4 cubits wide, as recorded in Deuteronomy 3:11, equivalent to about 13 feet 9 inches high by 5 feet 3 inches wide. The precise height of Og, according to the standard cubit of the time, which could have been the Israelite cubit or most likely the Egyptian cubit that Moses used at that time, varies between 13 feet 9 inches and 14 feet 9 inches, with some interpretations suggesting 5 feet 11 inches. Arguably, Og was a giant of extraordinary proportions, perhaps the largest giant mentioned in sacred scripture in terms of height. The Bible informs us that Og was part of the Rephaim people, a lineage mentioned in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 3, and in other parts of the Bible such as in Genesis, chapter 14, among other passages of the sacred scriptures. The Rephaim were known to be a race of fearsome giants, often portrayed as monstrous beings, almost like legendary figures. An intriguing fact about the Rephaim giants is that the term Rephaim or Rapha literally means undead, referring to them as the living dead or those whom people believe to be dead, but who, in fact, were still alive. This term makes a reference that is little explored in current times, as it refers to the giants who were thought to have been annihilated due to the flood, but who ended up reappearing and being called Rephaim, or living dead, due to this initial belief in their extinction. Og is recognized as a ruler among the Amorites, who were the descendants of Canaan. He is also notable for being one of the last giants of the Rephaim lineage. In this era, these imposing creatures were already on the verge of extinction. By the time of Abraham, they were already rare, and in the era of Moses, although scarce, they still persisted, surviving until the period of the kings of Israel. The character Og, king of the Rephaim, a formidable giant, is shrouded in deep mystery, as the Dead Sea Scrolls attest. Among these writings, a volume known as the Book of Og, the king of the Rephaim, stands out, which arouses great curiosity. Furthermore, in ancient rabbinic traditions, the king of the Rephaim is considered a giant survivor of the flood. According to some rabbis and ancient Jewish traditions, they claim that he would be around 3,000 years old and would have lived at the time of Moses, having survived the flood. According to Rabbi Rashi, he hid in Noah's ark during the flood, begging Noah for permission to enter, and Noah agreed, thus allowing him to survive. According to other ancient Jewish traditions, Og is credited with surviving the flood. Og's own book states that he was around 3,000 years old and managed to survive the flood by climbing the highest mountain in the region. Another interpretation suggests that Og was actually born from the relationship between a fallen angel and a human woman shortly after the flood. There are also those who believe that he was born shortly after the flood, being the fruit of the union of a fallen angel or a demon with a human woman, possibly a priestess of pagan idols. This theory considers him one of the giants who resurfaced shortly after the flood. The region of Bashan, spanning from southern Gilead to northern Hermon, and from the Jordan River in the west to Salika in the east, is described in Deuteronomy 3:1-7. This territory was granted to the half-tribe of Manasseh, as recorded in Joshua 13:29 and 13:31.
This theory considers him one of the giants
one
who
of the cities of
shortly
Bashan,
after the
became
flood.
a city of refuge according to
These
Joshua
interpretations are
21:27.
often based on the book of
Another
Genesis,
city in the region,
chapter 6,
an administrative
which mentions
district
the
during
existence
Solomon's
of
reign,
giants at the
is
time of
mentioned
the
in
flood
1
and
Kings
suggests that they
4:13.
also appeared
Bashan,
after this
ruled by
cataclysmic
Og,
event.
the king of Bashan, was
According to
renowned
the
for its
beliefs of
fertility
those
and
who
suitability for raising livestock due to lush pastures and abundant natural resources. After the Israelites' victory over Og and the conquest of Bashan, this region became part of the tribal lands of Manasseh and Gad, following the division of lands among the tribes of Israel.
According to these traditions, Joshua wielded a spear to kill Og, the king of Bashan, that giant, thus fulfilling this remarkable achievement. However, the reality is that Og was nothing more than one of the giants that the people of Israel had to face during their conquest of the land of Canaan. In that region, there were several other giants of different bloodlines, but one of the most formidable adversaries that the people of Israel defeated was King Og of Bashan.
Now imagine for a moment, King Og, towering monstrously colossal, nearly 15 feet tall, almost the size of a tree, and approximately 6.5 feet wide. Visualize the challenge it was to face this creature in the midst of a battle against numerous soldiers. From my perspective, he truly resembles a monster. I hope everyone enjoyed another video from our series about the giants of the scriptures. I sincerely thank everyone who has followed along to this point. May everyone be under God's protection. See you soon.